Because all that energy you spend trying to talk somebody into something, that's time you can be putting it into what you're supposed to be doing, honing your craft, man. I don't have time to be sitting for 40 minutes a day trying to show Justin his dream. Like, you got to get out and do your thing.
Right. That was something that I struggled with my family, because out of college, I was doing the music thing, wasn't making too much money. So when I picked up this camera, I think they kind of thought that I was still in that same mindset, like, oh, he's just playing, he's not doing any, you know what I mean? So my dad is a septic driver. He made good money, got good benefits and everything like that. But when I tell you that one of the biggest things that hurt me from him was him sending me septic applications almost every week. You know what I mean? Like, you not sending out referrals.
I hate to be laughing like that.
I know who your dad is. He tried the 66, don't he? He gave me them Jones too. Like, oh, come on, man.
You're not sending out referrals.
Yeah.
You're not sending out, you know what I mean? Like, you're not reposting my pictures or my videos or nothing. You just sending me flyers for for the career or whatever. So to me, and he wasn't the only one. I just use my dad because that's the, he the closest to me, and that. But he wasn't the only one. A lot of my family members did that, and that, like, at first it hurt, because at first it's like, oh, y'all really don't believe in me, but then y'all really don't believe in me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of flipped. It flipped the switch, so and then it turned into a fire. So.
Flex
jacket on today.
There we go. Hey, welcome, Spiritual Connect Radio. We are live in the studio, man, with our very special guest today, man. We're going to have a good time today, man. As usual, we got funny man Justin Lamar.
Yes,
I say that about it like automatically.
Yes, sir. You already know what I'm coming with straight heat.
We got Devin, we got Chris. Devin, why don't you introduce your guest, man? Then we'll go around and introduce ourselves.
All right, I mean, he's a grown man. I feel like
He's a grown man.
Introduce yourself.
Now I can introduce myself.
All right, go ahead.
How y'all doing? I'm Jahlil. I'm the owner of Sharpshooter Visuals LLC, photographer, videography, amongst other things, but that's the main thing that I do. I'm a lover of life, of all things, especially dogs. I always gotta shout out my dogs, they my babies.
That is something I hear you say all the time.
The dogs.
You're talking about animals, though.
Yeah, my animals.
I thought you was some DMX
I
stuff.
got 4 dogs.
Why didn't you mention the self-proclaimed GOAT? What happened to that?
Oh, well, I was keeping it humble. I'm among greats right now.
No possible keep it humble in here. So let's go around the room, man. We can start with my man in the corner.
Justin Lamar, comedian, entrepreneur, visionary, philanthropist. I just keep adding to my resume. I just keep doing it every day.
Dev Pender, again, someone that's happy to be here and just happy to be alive.
He always spin positive stuff, man. But Chris Jr., again, just black man, happy to be here with my homie Jahlil and all my other guys here, and ready to get into our topic tonight, man, and just kind of continue to build on our community and positive vibes in here.
Yeah,
Positive vibes.
And yours truly, man, Chris Pender Senior, man, and we're here, and I'm honored to be in here with the young royalty today, man. It's gonna be another great show. We've been building off every week. It gets better and better and better.
I see it.
I think our guests have been getting better and better and better, man. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
An entrepreneur, and for our young people, somebody who looks like them. And also somebody who's, you said something that the conversation you had with your mom, and I'm gonna start there. When you asked her, you mentioned us about.
When we were taking photos.
Yeah, why you were you asked her why was you paying for your pictures or something like that.
Oh,
I feel like we need to get more context to that person.
Well, that's why I want to say.
Let's get the back.
He took photos for us. Yeah. Like, we did a photo.
Oh, he did the photos.
Yeah, he did.
I was gonna let him explain.
He did a great job.
But you just jumped into his mom, and people watching probably like, what are they talking about?
Well, no, because I was gonna let him explain how
Go
he
ahead
came
and talk
to
about
that.
how you took our photos.
So I definitely did that group photos. It was a wonderful experience, a wonderful family to work with. But the conversation that they're talking about is a conversation where I had a conversation with my mom about photography. And she told me, she was like, you got to understand that people was coming to you for the full experience. And at first I didn't understand that. I'm like, yo, people take pictures on their phone all day. And then as soon as a professional camera come out, they act like they don't know how to pose, they don't know how to stand, they don't like the way they look and all this other stuff. So why, But she told me, like, you got to understand that if you're doing this as a business, you're taking it serious, you're selling the whole experience. Like, anybody could just push a button. But you want to be the one that set up. You want to be the one that show them how to look, show them when they look good, show them when they don't. You know what I mean? Communicate with your client. So that's what I took from that conversation.
Let me reinforce what your mom said, because I just had a photo shoot, right? With this photographer, actually from my high school. Didn't even know that till we linked up. But the reason I shot with her it's not only because of reputation with everybody, but just how she make me feel when I'm in the studio. Like, she make me feel like I'm star 10. So, you know what I'm saying? Smile be beaming like 100 watts.
For sure, it's all about the
And
vibes.
it's the person behind the lens. I got a couple photographer friends, you know what I'm saying? And the ones that really stand out, it's like, it's more of like who they are behind the camera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you can teach somebody mechanics. I don't know. I'm speculating.
So now we'll get to you. That's why I want to start there. Then get to our photo shoot.
Okay.
Because you got there because of what your mom said.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
get a little chance in this context, man. Everybody's getting hit in the gun. Nah, because what she said to me is key to why you do what you do.
Absolutely.
Versus somebody just walks around with a camera, you know, just kind of doing a thing. So I think Chris had a question he wanted to ask.
So I mean, you just kind of references anybody feels like they can take a picture nowadays, you know? So like, what kind of took you down that path of like, you know what, I'm more so a visual artist, I want to be a photographer. Like, what gave you that start? Where did you get that start at, man?
Okay, so I did a lot. I know I'm young, but I did a lot of things coming up. Like, so right before
how old are you?
photography,
Yeah,
I'm
let's talk
27.
about 27. Okay.
So right before photography, I was doing music. Now, don't get me wrong, I still write a little bit, but that's like subpar right now. That's a back burner. So, but before that, I was doing music, and we used to just be sitting in the studio all day, and that's, you know, that's cool. It's keeping us off the streets and everything. But I used to be looking around like, yo, we not making no money. Like, we putting all this money into the studio, all this money in the videos, all this money. We not bringing in nothing. So I always been the type that like I sit back and watch stuff like, oh, wow, I see how this business work. I see what the catch is over here. Oh, wow, I see how like I don't even go to the bar. I don't even go to the bar because I'll buy a $10 bottle before I buy a $20 drink. That's just how my mind works.
That's smart. That's smart.
That's a bar right there.
Well, you
know,
I want to say a little sidebar because my kids and my wife laugh at me because when I go on order, I always get a separate glass of ice.
Say, make sure you get more.
Because they cheat
yeah,
you, man.
oh, yeah,
They
for sure. Every time, light ice.
They
man.
cheat you, man. I'm
The
telling
cup
you.
be this big, the ice
Yeah.
power.
So see, we obviously that's that kinship right there.
You always think about the next dollar.
Sure, absolutely. So with that being said, you know, we just was sitting in there, and I'm just like, yo, how can I add to this table? You know what I mean? I know I'm a skilled artist. That comes without saying. I write too easy, but I'm like, what skills do I have that I could bring to this table and not only help us not spend money on that, but now I can charge other people and bring money into the, you know, into the income.
Like where this is going.
So I was always the guys. If you look in a lot of pictures, I'm in none of them. From back in the day, high school, I'm in none of them because I'm the one taking them. I always take them. Yo, let me take this. Oh, this is a nice scene. I pull out my phone. Hey, let me take this. Like, right? Let me take this picture. Like, and I'm always taking them. So I'm like, you know what? Let me take this serious. I had a photographer friend that used to be around us. He was the one that was doing the music videos, and he was showing love and all that. You know what I mean? But again, I'm like, if I could do this myself, you know. So he like, he upgraded his camera. He was like, yo, let me know if you want to buy my old camera. So I'm like, yeah, I want to buy your old camera. Like, how much, you know? So he told me the price or whatever. So all the money that I had on me, I was $50 short. I had the money on me, but I was $50 short. My homie that was sitting right next to me, my right hand man. Shout out to Scotty, man. Scotty, Andre Scott, that's my homie, yo. That's my right hand man. He said, listen, I'll put up the $50 with you because I know that I'm gonna be using this probably more than you. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? We slid to the ATM. We came back with the money, exchanged it, and it was a wrap from there. I mean, I think I had that camera in my hand the whole day that day. You know what I mean? It just took off from there. I fell in love with it.
Just kind of similarity to our last guest and TJ, just the homie that's willing to just put up the bread, you know what I mean, to help somebody else succeed and get to, you know what I mean, what it is that you want to accomplish and do, man. That's why it's always important to just have a solid network and group of people around you, man, that are willing to invest in you. It ain't always got to be monetary. You know what I mean? It's been fortunate where that's what it's been, but you know, it's good to hear that you got that type of support.
I feel like, you know, he saw the passion and the vision. You know, he was able to get behind that with you, you know what I mean?
For sure. It's like y'all was talking about in one of the previous sessions where that investing in your people, like y'all said, you have to invest because you're going to see that return. You know what I mean? If you're doing it in the right people, you're going to see that return, so.
Yeah, well, you know, and that's why it's key. The theme here is all, and we don't plan it like this, but the theme has been that the people on this show that they talked about, one of the key points to their success was who they were around. You know, they had some people that weren't too good they learned from, but they all had that person who was time to stepped up and said, look, hey, I'm going to take a chance. That's pretty cool because everybody don't have that.
Right, for
So
sure.
let's talk about the visions. How did you take it from, just something you like to do
To business.
Yeah, so now I can turn into a business thing because many people don't know how to take their passion and make money off of it.
So it was always a business thing. It was always a business thing. You know what I mean? It was a passion, but it was always once the digital camera touched my hands, and I'm like, oh, all right, we don't have to pay him for this one. It was always a business thing. So my thing was just getting better. Just getting better, practicing. I'm asking everybody, I'm hitting people up. I'm writing people on Instagram, yo, can we shoot? People hitting me back on, no, I don't like your pictures, I don't like the way you edit, saying all types of crazy stuff. But it was like, I didn't let that get to me because I was new. I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? Like where I'm at right now don't really mean nothing. I know where I'm going. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, I just practiced like that first year. That was probably the most I ever shot. Period, because I had the camera in my hand every day, shooting everything. Like, I sit this up right here, and I'm, you know what I mean, like just sitting there, like,
because I was saying,
like that. Like,
we seen you do that, take pictures of random stuff.
Yeah, like, and that's what happened. And I saw that it started. You know, this income is coming. Oh, they making. Oh, he do that. He got paid that much. Oh, all right. I mean, that's just what it was. Like I said, I sit back and I observe and I apply when it's time to apply. My thing is be ready. So like my thing is stay ready so you don't ever gotta get ready. You know what I mean? And that's especially when it comes to the skills in your business, whatever it is, you know.
So I feel like we hear a lot of passion, man. Like just kind of want to take it back to your upbringing. Like where do you get that from? Like what type of people did you grow up around? Like your mom, dad. Give us some background, bro.
Okay, so my mom, Tanzania. Shout out to my moms. That's my backbone, man. That's my backbone. I'm the oldest of 6 on her side. So when I tell you that, like, it was me and her, like, I was like, I don't want to say the father figure of the house, but I had to make sure that things was held down because she was working. She went to college. She graduated with her master's. Like, my mom did great things, and we helped each other. Like, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now. Like, I'm talking about, like, I never once felt down and out with, like, just alone because she was always there no matter what it was. And to me, that's important. That's important, just like you said, to always have somebody in your corner because not only did it allow me to not hit a certain rock bottom that I seen a lot of my peers hit, it allowed me to not want to disappoint her. You know what I mean? Like I also didn't do a lot of things because I'm like, oh, my mom, like, if I get caught in that, my mom ain't gonna like this. Like this ain't gonna look good on my mom. Like, you know what I mean? So she was like, she's a big factor of a lot of the things that I do. You know, my dad was around too. Shout out my dad Jamal, he was around, but it's like my mom was that, you know, like that irreplaceable, like, you know. So, my grandmother is very artsy. Very, very artsy. Arts and crafts, like, she built her bed. She got a circle bed. She got a round bed. That's not something you hear. She got a round bed.
I mean, a circle one too.
It's really circle. It's not like an oval. It's really circle. Like, she built the foundation to it. So it's like she do stuff like that. Like she renovate her house. She used to run a daycare. So she used to have us in the house doing all types of arts and crafts, and she liked that. My pop had a vacuum cleaner business that I used to work at when I was a child. And just a quick story about that. I remember me and my uncle was working in there, and one of my uncle clients came in, and he came in with a broken belt for the brush on the vacuum cleaner, like a 2-minute fix or whatever. The person asked him, he was like, "Yo, can I just pay you to show me how to do it or whatever?" So my uncle was like, "No, like, why would I do that?" And I walked in the back. So then we sitting there, you know, I'm in the back or whatever, talking or whatever, and he doing what he doing, you know. So he stopped, finished it. Then he just sitting there. So I take the time to ask him, you know, I'm always watching. I peep that. I'm like, why you ain't just show him, like, just take that money to show him how to do it or whatever? He said, what type of shop is this? I said, a vacuum shop? He said, exactly. He said, what do we do? I said, fix vacuums. He said, exactly. If I sit here and teach everybody that walk in here how to fix vacuums, who will walk in here? I said, you know what? That's crazy. That's crazy. So when he went back out, he basically said the same thing to the dude, but he said it in a better way. Like, what reason would I have to see a smiling face or something like that? You know what I mean? He spun it in a good way, but that made sense to me. You know what I mean? And it was like, since I was a pup, I've been around creativity and business. You know what I mean? So mixing it was always it was easy for me. I used to make clothes in high school, like, you know what I mean, and I used to sell them, like paint, bleach stuff, all that type, rips in the jeans, all that. Like I was that bull. I was the bull. You know what I mean? So.
And you went to Shellingham too?
Yeah, I went to Shellingham. Yeah, shout out to CHS. You know, 2012.
CHS Christian Center.
Hamilton Ghost. You already know. You already know.
All right, so when you talking about clothes, I know you have the clothing line that you do right now. You know, cause it's a kind of great segue.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's you.
That's one of my first original. He got the OG shirt.
Yeah, I've seen like guys wearing things, man. Like some of your friends, and I need to copy some gear too. We definitely need to talk about that.
Oh, for sure. If y'all give me y'all sizes, I'll be able to.
Yes. But I want you to talk about the clothing line, man. Like, how did that get started? You said you started in high school. Again, was that just like one of your friends saw how you was wearing something, or? Like,
so the clothing line didn't really start until after the photography, right? Mm-hmm. So in high school, it was more so of a way to make money. You know what I mean? Me and my homie Scotty, we'd be like, yo, people walk up to us, where you get that from? We ain't get it from nowhere, we made it. Oh, how I did it? I'm like, oh, we making money off of this. Let's just start charging people. You know what I mean? So that started there. And then once I got into the photography and the videography thing, I'm like, I need something to brand myself. Because I'm not just a photography and videography company. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a whole brand. You feel what I'm saying? This is like I said, it's an experience. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I need something to really brand myself. So I started putting my name on my shirt. You know what I mean? I really started liking the way it looked. And I'm like, I think I'm about to start selling this to start funding my photography. And with that, I started being able to get more photography equipment, tripods, extra cameras, and stuff like that. So that's really how that. And it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. Like, it's really been wonderful. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta get back on it because people be asking me for stuff, and I'm like, I got you, because I be doing so much more stuff. But if I can get that really working, like the well-oiled machine I know it's meant to be, it's gonna be something beautiful.
Okay, so my question, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody that's not from your same background, because it seemed like you very much a product of your environment. Like you said, you had the creative side and you had the business side. So you doing what you're supposed to be doing right now. You all in your lane. For somebody who didn't come from that wants to do that, what would you tell them?
As far as chase their dreams and being an entrepreneur, as far as being a photographer.
Like, no, I'm talking about, so yes, taking whatever they're passionate about, their skill, and really like, because I've a lot of things that you're doing, I'm trying to do.
Okay. Right.
So photography, like I brought my camera today. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? you know what I'm saying? Like, but my obviously my passion mixed with comedy. Mm-hmm. So like that's a whole thing itself. So I've already started that, but I've noticed that it like, for people who are not from that, like my pop was always 9 to 5. That's what it is. That's how you make money. That's how you retire. That's how you get it, right? And nothing wrong with that.
Right.
He about to reach his goal. He about to retire, right? But that's not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So for different projects, for whether it be like clothing, because I want to wear my own stuff too. I'm the type of dude to stay at the bar. I'll be mad at the high price drinks.
Right.
Like, how would you tell somebody, you know, if it's just a small idea, what would you tell them about starting it?
Well, first things first, write it down. Write it down. Any idea you have, write it down. I don't care what I'm doing. Like, well, besides shooting, because when I'm shooting, I'm really to my clients, but I could be...
Hold up.
Let me knock on wood. I could be driving down the street, and if a good thought or a good idea come to my mind, I'm writing it down because I don't want to lose it. My mind is like, it's so...
And that's even like just putting it in your phone.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like writing my notes, I make them to put it in the notes, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, I write it down. That's the first step. The second step, I tell everybody, like I went to college, but I didn't finish college. I went to college for criminal justice. And that's a whole nother story. That's just not what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being said, YouTube is my college now. Like I tell everybody, I go to YouTube University.
I be on the same.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Everything is on there, man.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up because that's funny. But when you talk about that story with your uncle, how he said
Yeah.
Why would I teach him for free? Why would he come back? Now they teach
You
him
can
for
go
free.
on,
So what would your uncle say about that now?
But see, not really, but it's
I
not
mean,
really
the
for
views,
free.
if you get the
Yeah,
views,
see, it's
you
not
get
really
money.
for free
You
because
still
they
get
get the views and stuff, and people start to advertise on it. So there's an angle behind that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of input. I got 22. I got 22 subscribers on my YouTube channel. That's
work to do.
what I'm saying. It's gonna be a lot of free stuff going up.
But that's what it is, though. You do it, and people pay because you're popular. Like if you're real funny and people laugh at you, I got to just now people want to advertise. So that's when you make your money.
But before that,
You gotta
you
get
have
there.
to.
Yeah, you gotta get there.
You have to put in consistent inputs
Oh, yeah, of course.
to consistency
Yeah.
with the internet. And even if your uncle did show that dude how to fix the thing, he probably still come back. He don't want to do that. Like it's a
Convenience.
it's a convenience of somebody doing it. That's why people who still like I can learn anything I want on YouTube. I still be paying people to do stuff.
People just lazy, like, you know, they don't want to take that.
That's true.
You know,
But I think it depends on the person because there's some people like I'm that dude, man. If I learn how to do it,
Yeah,
It's
I'm
over.
like,
It's
it's
over.
It's a
right.
wrap,
I
man.
never
Like,
paid
you
anybody.
know me, I
to
put the deck on back in my house. I figured out how to do all that stuff.
but some people just
yeah.
value their time.
They
Like
do.
how many vacuum cleaners are we going to pick? Like your uncle learned that skill as a youngin.
Yeah,
Like took it
it
with
been
him.
in the family.
He like you know it's like easy money right here. Some people see easy money other ways. I would pay some time to give myself more time to write, do comedy, other stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
but kind
But
of,
for
it's
me-
a whole nother subject. I was gonna say time. Like,
But I think, when I'm working, I'm thinking. I'm like, yo, man, when I'm working with because I don't work with my hands ordinarily. So if I'm doing labor outside, I'm always thinking, man, I'm making mental notes, I'm changing things. It's so funny because if you look at my curriculums and a lot of stuff I talk about with youth, it's always stories from something I did working or playing ball or something. It
I
always
was in the yard.
yeah, I do.
I felt one
But
with the wood.
People laugh, but you know what? And people say, but you know what? I always remember what I say because it's based off of real stuff. I've been in the room, people say stuff, and they say, yo, that's not what you said last time. Because people start making stuff up.
Making
Yeah.
stories,
You start
stories
making
up,
stuff up. Like, yeah, man, I walked uphill everywhere. The next time I walk. So, I mean, to me, I get stuff. But I get your point. Because I have friends who, they not touching it, man. Like, oh, man, I'll pay somebody and I'll sit there and watch them.
Yeah,
But,
But it's with the business, the last thing you want to do is risk losing a client for whatever reason.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So even if they're the type of people that
Yeah.
Might not do it, it's still a chance that
Say it
they
again.
might. You know
Say
what
it
I
again.
mean? So,
Say that one more time because that's very important.
Which part?
Being willing to lose a client.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Why is
sure.
that important?
that's been the thing, man.
Because clients, number one, that's your livelihood. Like I don't have that 9 to 5. I don't go to work every day, and at the end of the week, I know that I'm getting paid this. I don't have that security that a lot of people have, and that's okay because that's the life that I chose. But what I also don't have is a ceiling. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? A lot of people that work 9 to 5s, you can only make this much because you can only work this amount of hours.
Yeah.
I'm on call 24/7. You know what I mean? Like it'll be sometimes where somebody might hit me up like, yo, something just happened. I'm so sorry, the photographer canceled on me. Are you able to get here in an hour? And if I'm able to do it, I'm like, yeah, well, as long as you know it's a rush fee, but yeah, I'm over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shout out, you left a
So-
birthday party, the kid's birthday party coming up, then went back. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Alright,
you
so
know what I
that's-
mean? So,
But
So
the
I'm
dogs,
miss-
though.
so I'm
We
missing
do it
what
to the
you're
dog
saying.
part.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
we
the
do
hand
dog
show
part
love to the
first.
dog.
So I'm missing what you're saying. You said don't be scared to lose a client, right?
No, I'm not saying don't be scared. You should be scared.
Okay,
Like I said,
okay.
That's your livelihood.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, that's just it. That's your livelihood. Like that's it. You want as many clients as you possibly
Absolutely.
can.
Yeah.
Now things happen.
Yeah.
People learn photography. Little cousin graduate college with the photography degree, so they don't need you no more, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All types of things happen. So you just want to pop style, so you can have as many clients as you want. You know what I mean? So you never got to hit that ground zero.
But
You
it's
know what I
funny you say that because a lot of businesses fail because they cap themselves.
mean?
You
Yeah.
know, they think, well, okay, I got 10 customers, I'm making good money, not realizing that you lose 5 in one heartbeat, man, or 10. So I think that kills a lot of people too because they think I'm set because they got these 10, so they don't build on their clientele.
That's one thing. I got comfortable before. I'm not gonna lie. I did get comfortable before. I had a nice flow of clients. I was seeing steady money, and I got comfortable. Worst thing that ever happened to me. I don't want to mess. Worst thing to ever happen to me. You know what I mean? Because that drive is not there. You're not hungry no more. You're not hungry. Like when I'm taking pictures, I'll be like, all right, let me get this angle. Y'all saw how I did it. You saw how I did it. You know what I mean? It's that hunger. I want to do the best that I can do. You know what I mean? But when you get comfortable, it's not there no more.
But that speaks to what Justin said because there's a distinct difference between because I've had photographers like I couldn't wait till it was over. I'm looking at my wife like, yo, let's get this thing over. Versus Justin said that feeling like, yo, I feel special. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. So and that's key. That's key to making people feel like special. Like, man, I'm worth this, because that's the person that's going to get into the poses and do the things, and that's the person who are going to give you word of mouth. Because I found word of mouth is the best. Is the best advertisement.
Absolutely.
It's the best advertisement when somebody says, man, this dude is really, really good. Yeah.
So in photography, going back in time, what would you say to yourself, giving yourself advice first starting out?
That's a good question.
First starting out, I would probably say get around mentors faster. Like, meaning, like, I have a whole bunch of people that I consider like mentors right now. Not even people that I talk to every day, but people that I know if I need something, I need a question answered or whatever, I can call them and they're there for me. You know what I mean? Like, I have that, but I didn't have that starting out. I would say from day one, whatever it is, you need a mentor.
Could you have had that?
Could I have had it? Yeah.
If you would have just asked?
Yeah, right. That's what it was. That's what it was.
It's funny because I do the same thing in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I could ask for so much more and have so many more opportunities, but I'm a very prideful person.
I was about to say, so why do you think that is? I heard you just say pride. Like, is it fear, pride?
For me, it wasn't pride. It was, I like to see if I could do something myself before I ask for help. You know what I mean? Like, asking for help is the last thing I want to do. Not because I'm scared. Like, having a mom like my mom, like, asking for help is nothing to me if I really need it. You know what I mean? But being the oldest of 6, there comes in the not asking unless you really have to. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So if I could do something by myself and knock down that wall or knock in that nail by myself, then I'm gonna do that without asking for help.
I feel that way too, but that's what I consider pride.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Because I could easily,
it sounds like pride.
I could easily get the question answered by somebody who is invested in my success. Like you talk about mentor, they want to see you become what they are and more.
But my dad always told me this, and I think when it comes to pride, man, he says, if you're prideful, you're not hungry enough. He said, if you remind yourself how hungry you are, man.
Right.
You start asking those questions, man. I think sometimes, to your point, it's easy to get comfortable, especially when you have the basic needs, you have things, you're not struggling.
Right.
But if you stay hungry, because I know when I started out, man, nobody would help me. Or people would say they would help me, and they'll look like I was getting as good as them. All of a sudden, they stopped me turning phone calls. They started inviting me to do stuff. They said, we can't invite Jesse because he's funnier than me now. Wait a minute, 6 weeks ago, So I went through that. But what I learned was that I had to kind of swallow my pride, man, because I was hungrier to succeed. So I started asking questions. If they answer me, they do. If they don't, they don't. I just started probing, man. Like, hey, how did you do this? How did you come up with this? Why did you talk like that?
Right.
Like, I'm not funny, but I can make people laugh. I learned that from somebody. Versus trying to tell jokes. Like, Jesse can tell jokes, people laugh. I tell jokes, he look at me like, yeah, come on, really? So when you're hungry, you got to just remember how hungry you are, man. And when you're hungry, you ask questions, man. And if they answer you, cool. If they don't,
that's true.
See you later, man. But I think it's important because that's how you get better.
Yeah. No, I definitely ask questions now. I ask questions now, but I ask them way sooner than before. Like before, I used to try to process and see if I could figure it out myself. Now, I know that time is one of the most valuable things that we have. Forget money, forget jewelry, forget everything else. Time is, to me, one of the most valuable things that we have. So I try to save time as much as I can.
Why don't we get off script here for a minute? Because Justin's asked that question almost every week, and he talks about that a lot. Why don't we about asking? About how come we don't ask? How come we're pride? That's something that you talk about every week. And why is that though? I mean, that's a good point. A lot of us are just we'll struggle with mediocrity. We want to be great instead of just asking that question how to get there, and we go through so much crap on our own.
I'm proud of myself. I just asked a bigger comedian than me to open up for him in Maryland this weekend. We'll see if he say yes or no. But I don't really care if he say yes or no. Like I did what I was supposed to do. Cause like a young you, I already know where I'm going. So whether he know now or know later, he gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I know that I did everything I can to, put myself in the position I want to be in.
But what that does is it separates people, and I learned it because all those folk who tell you if you ever need anything and they feel crap, they disappear. So you find yourself with people who really mean it. Because now I know if I tell Justin if you ever need anything, he will ask me. So that's different than hey, if you need anything. So that's the good side about it. You start eliminating folk who just blow smoke at you, man. And people around you are the ones who really will say, and they'll back it up.
That's true. You was about to say something?
Yeah, piggybacking off of what you had said, a couple years ago, I used to be a mentor for a program called As I Plant the Seed. Founder Ryan Harris, a wonderful dude. Like, I consider him like my older brother. He's not in photography, but he's somebody that I consider a mentor because he does a whole bunch of things in the community. So with that being said, he ran a challenge, a 30K challenge. He stood on the corner of Broad and Hunting Park for, I think it was 3 days. And stood out there collecting money. I'm not leaving, I'm not eating until we reach this 30K. And when I tell y'all, it was raining, it was cold, my boots was soggy, I went home. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I love the kids and all that, but I went home. He was out there.
Who was? Ryan Harris?
Ryan didn't eat, you know what I mean? So shout out to him for that dedication because he reached his goal. He reached his goal in 3 days. But that taught me a lot. That humbled me a lot. Having to walk up to different cars and like I felt homeless. Like, you know what I mean? Like now you understand how the homeless people feel when they have to really go up there and ask for those specific things. Like that's how I felt. Like, hey, do you mind people giving me the middle finger, pulling off? People won't even roll their window down. You know what I mean? People giving us change but throwing it at us, won't even put it in the bucket. You know what I mean? But so that taught me that you have to get through 1,000 no's before you can reach that one yes. You know what I mean? That's what that taught me, because it would be no. And then it'd be, oh yes, here's a 10. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be stuff like that. So, and it taught me that a lot of the people that you think is going to be there to support you, they not the ones. It's a whole world. It's billions of people out here in this world, and this internet just brought us all closer together. They're even easier to reach. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in what you think is supposed to be your audience, or who you think is supposed to be your clients, or you think is supposed to be your supporters, because they won't come. If you're on the right path that you're supposed to be on, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, people going to notice it, they're going to gravitate towards you, and they're going to come.
Well, you attract people about what you're about.
Yeah.
And you get rid of people who are not, because people feel bad. And, you know, they're the ones who talk about you. Like, who Justin think he is, man? You know, they do. That's the ones, you know, they come up with things to kind of shoot you down, or they trying to talk you out of it. Like, I had some people I knew, and I'm not going to say friends, and they started the conversation off the same way. Well, if I was you, well, you're not me. That's not them in the bud, man. But that's the first thing they would say. Well, why would you, Justin? I wouldn't even get you out of it. You know, people say stuff like that. So you got to be able to stand alone. I think once you stand alone, you'll attract people like you. And to me, you know, I've been saying their whole lives, man, you know, it's us against the world. That's all I need. I don't need anybody. I got my family, man. I'm good. You know, and you say the same thing about making your kids. I think you got to have that mentality, and if something gets added to it, it's fine. But if it doesn't, because people will tear you away from your dream in a heartbeat, man. They'll distract you. They'll just, because all that energy you spend trying to talk somebody into something, that's time you can be putting it into what you're supposed to be doing, honing your craft, man. I don't have time to be sitting for, 40 minutes a day trying to show Justin his dream. Like, you got to get out and do your thing.
Right. That was something that I struggled with my family, because out of college, I was doing the music thing. Wasn't making too much money. So when I picked up this camera, I think they kind of thought that I was still in that same mindset. Like, oh, he's just playing. He's not doing any, you know what I mean? So my dad is a septic driver. He made good money, got good benefits and everything like that. But when I tell you that one of the biggest things that hurt me from him was him sending me septic applications almost every week. You know what I mean? Like, you not sending out referrals.
I hate to be laughing like
that.
I know who your dad is. He tried to 66, don't he? He gave me them jokes too. Like, come on, man.
You're not sending out referrals.
Yeah.
You're not sending out, you know what I mean? Like, you're not reposting my pictures or my videos or nothing. You just sending me flyers for for the career or whatever. So to me, and he wasn't the only one. I just use my dad because that's he the closest to me, and but he wasn't the only one. A lot of my family members did that, and that, like, at first it hurt, because at first it's like, oh, y'all really don't believe in me, but then y'all really don't believe in me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of flipped the switch, so and then it turned into a fire. So
I was about to say, I was going to ask, how did you kind of overcome that? People doubting you and different things like that.
Oh, that's the best thing that could ever happen to me. You doubt me? You
Sound
think
like
I'm not going to do something? Like, that's the best thing that ever. That's the best thing that ever can happen to me. You know what I mean? Because that just gives me that much more fuel. It just fires me up. Like, oh, all right, now I have. Even if I didn't want to. Yeah. You doubt me? Oh, all right. Like, not nothing dumb. You know what I mean? I ain't you know what I mean? But okay.
You ain't gonna jump off this bridge.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I always say this.
I took that person.
If you you have a dream and a bunch of people see it, you're not dreaming big enough, man. You're not. If you got this dream, man, and everybody understand, that's a small dream. Because people who dream big, folk ain't jumping on the bandwagon because they don't see what you see. They don't see you. They didn't even see you go to New York doing your thing. You know, they don't see you doing what you guys are doing. They don't see it, and I learned that, man. You know, people who understand what you're doing, if you really stop and look at them, they stuck in the same place, man. So to me, if I say something a lot of people understand, man, I gotta amp this thing up, man. This ain't big enough because they can see it, and that's the way you gotta think, man.
That's true.
And it's supposed to hurt because that's where you get the character, the resilience, all that. It comes. You don't get that by feeling good. You get it by pain. You get it by rejection, man. You get it by, you know, it's like in basketball, you know, and you know, you go down there to do block your shot. You know, real ball players, you going back. Now the softball players, you become a jump shooter. You know, you getting further away from the basket, but a real guy like you'll take this. You know, or any sport you play. And I think that's the mentality that a lot of young people are missing today, and not so young people, is that they quit so fast. You know, and they quit because of what somebody said.
They expect to win. These participation awards, man.
But they'll quit because of what somebody said. You know, why did you stop? Oh man, because my uncle said. What was your uncle doing? Oh man, he's been working the same job for 30 years, complaining every day. That's your inspiration? Yo, that's what he trained. And you know, and I love my dad to death. Like you said, my dad was the same way. Get a 9 to 5, go to work. You know, that's who he was.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I don't put it there. That's who he was. My dad was the same way.
Yeah, I know. You just sunned the whole internet, bro.
It might be I don't know I'm busy, right? My dad was the same way though. So I think it's also a generational thing. You know, because they, you know, I you know, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this remark, but a lot of women like that. They need to know where it's coming from. They need to know where that check is coming from. You know, a lot of them like that. You know, not all, but a lot of them are.
And I gotta shout out my lady because I was so lucky to have somebody that was able to support me to get to where I'm at right now. Because when we met, what was that, 2012, I believe we met. Don't beat me up, sweetie. You know, I don't know that. But yeah, somewhere in 2012 we met, and I was down. I was down bad. I was making a little bit of money, but going on dates and all that, like I was that dude that was, listen, you gotta pay half the check. I'm not gonna lie, because
you already wasn't going to the bar.
You was the one that right. Definitely $20 for a pre-game and then I'm trying to take it. You know how much I pre-game on the date, didn't I was So, but she
probably right from Michelle.
She was my rock. She was another body. She was another person that was a backbone for me. She held me down and allowed me to spend the time to get to where I have to get. Because a lot of people don't have that time for whatever reasons. They might have a whole bunch of bills to pay. They might have kids that they got to take care of. Whatever the reason is, they don't have that time. I was allowed to have that time to better myself. I was allowed to make mistakes. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, when I met my wife, I was broke, man. I was broke, man. She, I don't know if she saw the video, she just heard it enough. I guess she said anybody talk about this much, something gotta come out of this. Right. But I want to back up a little bit, because what I've been impressed about is that chair right there, whether it's a mom or dad, they always talked about their family. You know, everybody that sat in that chair talked about their support system. And it's not always biological, but I want to talk, because you mentioned a lot of people. Yeah. And I say it because, you know, a lot of people think when it comes to people who look like us, that we always come from those terrible situations. You know, we got to go to jail, something bad got to happen to us before we, you know, or we have no family support. You know, we're out there. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because you mentioned a lot of family, man.
Yeah, for sure. I love my family, man. You know, I love my family. Family is exactly what it is, family. So you go through good things, you go through bad things, but it's family at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Let's see. I can't express enough how important it is to have that support system. I can't express how important it is. You could find that support system in anybody. It doesn't have, like you said, it doesn't have to be family. Sometimes it's not family. Sometimes it's the basketball coach. Sometimes it's the teacher that just put a little bit more care into, you know what I mean, your education than some people do. And it's so important because it allows you to, like when I said I was allowed to mess up, make mistakes, you know what I mean? A lot of people can't afford to make mistakes. I was allowed to, I can afford to make a mistake because of the people that I had in my life. You know what I mean? So, my mom, shout out to my mom, my dad, my grandfather, my grandmom, a whole host of aunts and uncles that helped me
You said you
become
got a
who I
lot of
was.
siblings, though.
Oh yeah,
You got-
siblings. All right, so we gonna go down the list.
It's like, because I know me and
I'm about to
we
say-
was close with I'm close with my
So
brothers.
it's me. I'm the oldest. You know, the big dog.
Mhm.
And then we got my little sister Diamond. Then we have Sierra. Then we got Tyree. Actually, I'm gonna give y'all the age. I'm 27. I gotta do the subtraction. -3 is 24. Diamond 24. -3. Sierra. I think she just turned 21. Yup. In August, she just turned 21. Sierra is 21. And Tyree is 19, and then it's the two siblings or the two twins, and they're 11. They go to Elkins Park Middle School. So they definitely helped me a lot, because that was like being in the house with them while my mom was working and stuff like that. It helped me with time management. It helped me just learn how to be in the, like, work a house. Like you really gotta work a house. Like a lot of people don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like cooking dinner, doing the dishes, making sure it's clean. Like when you take
I'm here, dog.
people, like it's really
And I can
like
feel
a
when I'm
job.
falling short too. You can see it. The house look crazy. It's like, can't nobody come over here right now, dog.
Real rat though.
You know, because I ain't mean to cut you off, but he always used to tell a joke about your wife about
Cleaning
how
behind the TV.
it's like he said before somebody come over, y'all used to have to clean behind the TV. Like ain't nobody gonna be looking back
My
there.
wife is the only person that does the weekly dance before we go on vacation.
That's what like
Ain't nobody coming over here. And I see what you clean for somebody breaking it. I mean, we clean and scrub before we go on
That's
vacation.
hilarious.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's coming because we'll be here.
kudos to good, great black women from that generation.
Yeah.
They knew how to run a house.
Yeah, to
The
be a
house was
mom.
ran.
I say this all the time. To be a mom, man, is man, that's tough, man.
It is.
You know, because when you taking care of kids, man, you gotta, and they gotta take care of us.
Right, and like now as a parent, like I didn't know. I don't know if you got kids, but like I did. Now I'm starting to appreciate all over again the sacrifices that she made. They made. My mom and my dad equally. Like they made to raise children. Like you give up a lot, and really like. To like some parents are complaining about it, like my life used to be better before you came. You know what I'm saying? They'll complain about it, but like my parents didn't complain about it too much. You know what I'm saying? They didn't claim about it. They didn't do it too much. They did it for like.
Now that you go to this, like it's okay, it's a fair amount. They had
That's
the
a
right.
fair amount of complaining. Like
That should remind you sometimes,
like because we be forgetting. Like everything free. Everything free.
When you're a child.
Everything free. But I had friends that grew up in Uptown, North Philly, South Philly, West Philly, family. Everything wasn't free. It wasn't free. They had to go get it.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you just said is important too, because that helped me a lot. Being what is the word that I'm looking for? Just having experience from different neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
Because my mom
Hood
is
adjacent.
right, exactly. I'm definitely hood adjacent.
You heard it here first when they showed.
So
You have to put the definition in there for people.
Yeah, you gotta do the subtitle.
right. Well, my mom being from Nicetown, but she moved us to Cheltenham, I believe in 5th grade, so I was in Cheltenham fairly early. My dad, he stayed down front in Lehigh, you know what I mean? Close to Kensington, y'all already know how that is, you know what I mean? So having that mixture of, like, I be in the hood and I don't feel hood enough. I be in the suburbs, I don't feel suburban enough. I don't know if that's the word, but you know what I mean? Like, that's how it is sometimes. But it's a blessing to be like that. You know what I mean? It's a blessing because I don't want to get too comfortable. I don't want to get stuck in the suburbs and be mad at people walking on my grass and all that. But I also don't want to be stuck in the hood and be mad that I got to tow the strap to the. You know what I mean? So I think that's very important to have that experience from all different types of the balance from all different types of environments, and that's something that my family being so spread out as they are allowed me to get. That's important. That's important.
It's funny. I mean, we've been fortunate to have that. Like we talk about this and reference this a lot. He constantly was taking us back to where he was from, and just kind of that allowed us to have the best of both worlds. I would say, kind of still have that tough exterior. And then almost feel fearless where I can go anywhere. You know what I mean? I can translate and talk to anybody.
I say this all the time. The character and resilience you learn in the hood, you can't buy that.
Mm-hmm.
You learn the character and resilience you learn in the hood and just being in the environment. You can't buy it anywhere. They don't teach it. You can't. And people, like you see the difference, like especially when I went to college. You know, a lot of them are soft, man. They helping people up off the floor. We compete for the same position, man. I'm like, I'm stepping over you, man. I gotta make you look bad. They take it easy in practice, man, because that was the mentality. Or I work with adults where if somebody talk about them, they go into like shock, man. Oh, he's like, yo, you wrong. Who cares? And my pop's like, yo, if they can't kick your butt and pay your bills, don't worry about it. So I think those things you learn, those skills you can't, and you talked about last week about where you live at, how that was really not.
What they
it's
think
There's things you learn, man, that you can't buy, you can't get in the classroom, that you pick up in your community, man, that'll last you a long time. I say this all the time about corporate America. People say, well, how are you able to make it? They're the same folk. They use bigger words and they dress better.
Right.
You got to watch the guy who's stabbing you in the back. You got to watch the guy who's talking about you. It's the same personalities.
Absolutely.
They just go about it differently. So it's something about growing up in the hood, man, that makes us people who take advantage of it. You have an edge.
For sure, absolutely got an edge. I spent a lot of time down front in Lehigh, a lot of time, and like you said, to piggyback off of what you said, I really feel like I can have a conversation with anybody. You know what I mean? And I'm always myself. Don't get it twisted. I'm always myself. But you have to shift the energy when you're talking to certain people. You understand what I'm saying? If that's the word that I'm looking for. So like, I'm not going to.
I like this.
Yeah, you gotta shift the energy. Because like I said, I don't want to. Like a lot of people be like, you putting on a white voice or whatever. That's not the thing. You know what I mean? But if I'm talking to this specific type of person or this specific type of client, I'm going to talk to them in an intellectual way that they can understand and we can, be on the same intellectual level.
He said this to me. I ain't gonna cut you off, but when I was a kid, he always taught me like it's a time and a place for everything. I mean, and that always resonates with me because, like you said, you can shift that energy, man. You can not lose yourself, but it's a time and appropriate place for everything.
And we're gonna dead that notion right now. If you go to Japan, you gonna be like, yo, boy, what's up? No, you gonna like, you gonna talk like they talk, so they can understand you. You still you. You just speak different dialects and languages. You gotta speak people's language.
I got that from Richard Pryor.
What's that?
That right there, we call it code switching now. Code switch. He was talking about, man, when he was trying to make it, and he had all these jokes, man, and he would be in the hood, everybody be cracking up. But in order to make it, you got to cross over. And you can't always be telling black jokes in the right order because they don't always get it. So he said he couldn't change his jokes because that's who you are. So he changed his voice. He said because he started talking like them. They thought it was funny. He said, but they could understand. Even because he said, if I change my jokes, I change who I am. Like they were trying to tell him, oh, you can't be as vulgar. He said, no, that's who I am. That's what made people laugh. So he was the first person, I guess, that really code switched because he went places Red Fox couldn't go because Red Fox wasn't switching over. Red Fox was like, I'm Red Fox. Red Fox like, I'm Red Fox. Y'all gonna take me or leave me. So it's funny because successful people figure it out. And we don't want to erase the people that call good behaviors
white. We associate it with whiteness, which is very sad.
You get an education.
See how far away.
Even having two parents in the house. That's what. You know what I mean? I know living in a white house.
And Clarence's parents had a really good
One thing that I've grown to realize is it ain't always green on the other side. You know what I mean? Just because they might have those two parents, they might not get half the love that I get from my one mom. You know what I mean? Like, and that's one thing that I had to learn. So
it's a case by case, right?
Exactly.
It's a case by
case. It definitely is case by case.
It's a case by case. But it's funny you should say it because it is that's the perspective or the perception that people have.
Absolutely.
Like I know people and they say, "Oh, well, you trying to be like the Cosbys?" And I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time. And I was like, "Why?" Because I like nice things. Because I like living indoors and paying my bill. Why not?
Like pre-bill.
It's funny, but they expect me to be like good times. Why nobody want to be like that? That every week something bad happens. I mean, that's not a measure of blackness. But that's what everybody wants you to relate to because you try to do something different. Oh man, you want to be like the Cosbys. You know what? They had the sweaters, they had the nice art in the house, man. They had a nice house. What's wrong with that?
But the thing is, I feel like media play a big part into that too.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about that. We try to associate these things with different cultures when it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
But it's media that kind of perpetuates put those images in front of us, which is why I kind of did this. We came up with this idea to kind of counter that. Yeah, that concept of like, black people do this. this is a white thing. Like, no, like this is a human thing. Like this is like excellence.
This is success.
Right. This is success. So
I'm wearing a sweater when I'm successful. we had to get away from this sweater. We had to put laces on.
You gotta get a sweater vest. You gotta get a sweater vest. That's
I mean, this is the look. That's part of it though too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You look good,
This
you
might
play
be a
good.
whole nother kind of crazy off the wall out there thing, but we talked about the bonnet thing before. You know, when you see certain things, like people perceive it a certain way. You know what I mean? So
You can't be mad.
sometimes you can't fault people for what they perceive or what they see. Again, that's why we're doing this show, because we need more of images of what we know the reality is, you know? So I didn't mean to kind of go into that spiel, but like that
No, but
kind of
it
ties
was
into all that.
It fit because I was gonna go. That's the next place I was gonna go, because I'm sure people look at you and they categorize you before they even talk to you. I'm sure they make all kind of assumptions before, you know, like I used to. Your ex probably don't mean the same thing. I used to wear Malcolm X hat.
Okay.
You know, so I used to get it two ways. One, because I was a Christian. How dare you wear an X hat when you're a Christian? My thing about Malcolm X was, it ain't many of us want to die for what we believe.
Yeah.
That's really to seek the truth regardless of what it is, and say, I know I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it for this. And he was like, him and Ali to me were like two amazing people because of that. Because we talk a lot of stuff.
Y'all might have to get them tatted on me.
But how many of us have given up our careers like Ali did?
No, like
And how many of us are saying that? Because you knew Malcolm X knew what was gonna happen.
people ain't leaving 50 grand.
So I thought
to
that
speak
was
their
just
mind.
amazing. But I just remember when I used to go in corporate America during the week in my suit and tie, because I used to be an accountant by trade. You know, I was, hey, what's going on? What's going on? I show up with my ex on Saturday. All of a sudden, the same security guard watch me go past. Yo, can I see your ID? Like, dude, all of a sudden that whole stigma changed. You know, before I go get I go get breakfast on the counter on Saturday morning. Lady, just go ahead, put the money in the thing. Then I'm like, she's standing there watching me counting. I mean, and it's a hat. Mm-hmm. So it's funny how people they can take what you wear, what you look like, and just stigmatize you. Yeah, but they assume it's you. So how do you handle that? How do you stay professional? Too, that's
one thing. My mom always, she tried to always keep me in a I don't know what's the word. Like she didn't want me to get the locks. Yeah. She didn't want me to get the tattoos. You know what I mean? Like for the people that can't see me, I got tattoos. I got locks.
The corporate mode.
So yeah, she wanted to keep me corporate. You know what I mean? If I did get tattoos, none below the elbow, so you could hide them when you know what I mean. Yeah. So no sleeves.
Don't get me started. That's a whole nother episode. Don't get me started. He was back in 2005.
My overall goal was to change that. What you look like is a reputation of who you are. You understand what I mean? Like, just because I wear the ripped up jeans, just because I have the tattoos, I have the dreads, I could come in the room and speak just as intelligently as you. Speak with just much intellectual, you know what I mean, value as you know what I mean, like whatever the topic is. If I'm educated, I ain't gonna speak with something I don't know about, but if I'm educated on that topic, you know what I mean, like we here with it, you know what I mean. Just because I'm the way I am doesn't mean that you can perceive, like y'all said, like you can perceive me as, So, but I also have to take in consideration that it happens, like y'all said, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I walk into these buildings, I make sure that I have a smile on my face. I make sure that even if they're giving me a dirty look, I'm speaking first. I'm gonna show you my energy. Hey, how you doing, sir? Can you show me where even if I don't even need nothing, I just, I see them looking at me a certain way. Oh, well, can you show me where room 302 is? I done been there 1,000 times, but you wasn't here the last time I seen you looking at me funny, so I'm gonna try to, you know what I mean? But I be caught in between the middle of trying to make people comfortable, and that's not my problem. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a fine line. You know what I mean? I don't want to hold nobody's hand to learn to respect us as black people, but I also don't want to scare nobody, if that makes sense. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So
it's like you're aware of potentially what the perception may be, and you're just like kind of compensating for that in a way. You know what I mean? Without changing yourself.
Right. I don't go out the way to do it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not crossing the street, all that stuff. I'm not doing none of that. But like you said, I'm aware of it, and I try to open up people's eyes to another.
And if anything goes beyond that, that's more so on you.
But I think if you go
with
back to AI to now, that generation was responsible for that. Because I say AI because for AI, everybody was wearing suits in the NBA. You know, everybody
The box suits, the Steve Harvey Jones.
Everybody had the wingtips on. Everybody was carrying a briefcase, everything. Most of them had nothing in the briefcase, but that was the image. And then here you come getting along with the baggy pants, you know, the white T-shirt and gold chains and your hair braided, you know. So I think what happened was it gave people courage. It gave people, because you know, you just don't go out and do it unless it's inside you. So I think people saw that. Oh, now I can just be me and release myself. Even you go over to corporate America, it's a funny story because I was an accountant for a long time, you know, and they thought it was blasphemy because everybody wore white shirts and blue suits. And here I come, man, with my brown suit, man, and blue shirt, pink shirt, stripes, socks matching my tie, and everything. They were like, "Yeah, what you doing?" This ain't a man in black. What you doing? So it was funny but that's how stuff goes because people look at you like you're weird because you dare to do something different. But to me, that's also a sign of greatness. You know, when I look back at people like I look at Muhammad Ali in a time where black folk wasn't supposed to say anything. They were supposed to be quiet, not say anything. Dude not only was brash, he was bold too. He was like, look, man, I don't care. And you know, he wasn't, and he did it in such a way that he wasn't mean and antagonistic. He just, I'm gonna speak the truth. Don't ask me that question if you don't
say, you my poser when I want freedom. You my poser when I want justice.
But he was. And he didn't do it.
Still inspiring to see that.
But he didn't do it cursing at people, you know, tagging out, I'll kick you. He did it in such a way, and I thought that was just so. It's the same thing with Malcolm X. You know, I loved the way he conducted himself. You know, he just always conducted himself in such a way that you wanted to listen to him.
I mean, Martin Luther King, all those guys that I think about, the images and like just how they held themselves.
Images important.
Was everything. That was important. That's what we're missing today from.
Well, because now we worry about fitting into a box. Now everybody's more concerned about, and this is my little tidbit about church, and I can say it, anybody knows because I'm ordained, so I'm saying this from true comfort zone. That's what's wrong with a lot of churches because pastors don't want to have those conversations. They worry about what everybody think instead of saying the truth. Yeah. You know, instead of talking about the truth, I'm not going to talk about racism. I'm not going to talk about equity. I'm not going to talk about feminism. No, I'm saying it because to me, that's where it's supposed to be different. That's where it's supposed to be different. You know, or I got a friend of mine who may be listening now. You know, he said something the other day I thought was powerful, man. That he has some churches looking at him funny because he has a white wife. And I'm thinking, like, church? You know, that's the place, man. That's the one place you should be able to walk into and everybody say, hey, you know. So it's just crazy how...
It was with brothers and sisters in Christ.
And he's a pastor. So and he does a lot of good stuff for a lot of good people. Got a huge heart. So it just amazed me. So that's what made me go there because people just look at them and make an assumption without even trying to get to know him or saying, look at all the work he does.
What are they about?
And we still do that. And then, but I gotta say this, black people, we perpetuate that more than anybody else.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
We get in the room, man, and we go in.
But I feel like alright, so I feel like it's deeper than just that, right? I feel like a lot of the things that we went through in the environments that we came up in, we had to judge people off of their appearance, right? We had to like, all right, if that person looks sketchy, I'm not going over there. That block looks sketchy, I'm not going down there. Oh, that person look like he going to buy me lunch or whatever. I'm broke today. Let me go holler at him. Like we had to learn how to judge people off of what they look like, right or wrong. You know what I mean? And I think that carries in to, you know, the situation with the pastor and with your wife. You know what I mean? Like, people just...
Not my wife, so don't get me in trouble.
No, not your wife. I'm sorry, not your wife. The pastor and his wife.
You about to get me in trouble.
No.
You met my wife.
Wonderful lady. But I feel like that goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a switch that a lot of black people can't turn off. That judging type thing, that just looking at somebody and
human
trying to
nature,
figure out their story.
No, but it was a paradigm shift because I grew up in a time where people who my age know what I'm talking about because I'll be 60 next month. You know, it's crazy, but we spoke to everybody. When I grew up in North, you spoke to everybody you walked past. It's funny because I would be downtown and white people be like, you know all those people? No, it was just a natural thing. It was up, bro. You did. When you walked past, you made eye contact, man. Hey, what's up, bro? You did it all the time. It was, and I'm not talking about everybody just holler at the women.
Less of that,
you spoke. It's a whole lot less. We were less judgmental because most of us knew we all came from the same place. I mean, I see you in the suit, but I know that walk.
Yeah.
I know where you're walking. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a lot of that. It was some, and most of them did it because they thought they were getting ahead. So I said somewhere along we lost it where we judge people right away, you know, because they look, because of the way they dress, you know, or to just talking about it, when you start speaking intelligent, oh, he's acting white.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you had a suit and tie on, that would never come out of anybody's mouth.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to go there, because you know it looks, you know, what would you tell somebody behind you, the generation coming behind you now, who was struggling with that, you know, because you know some people think I can't be me.
I think it goes back into when I said that your audience, the audience that you want to be your audience, the clients that you want to be your clients, you don't have no control over that. The only thing that you have control over is your actions, your words, and who you are, controlling who you are, being the best that you can be. You know what I mean? And for me, like, I dress like depending on where I'm at. If I'm in somewhere where, you know, they're wearing suits and stuff like that, I'm suited up, buttoned up and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm like this. I'm comfortable because I can give you the best experience when I'm the most comfortable. Yeah. Not even just being limber, but just being comfortable with myself. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, I change the energy, I don't change who I am. So you're gonna see this. I'm gonna be comfortable with you, we're gonna have a good time. Because I don't have to sit like this in a suit all day knowing that that's not how I wonder if my tie is tight enough, you know what I mean? So I feel like just being you is always gonna be people that gravitate towards you. Always, just be yourself. Just be yourself, you know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that, because I was just watching a shot with LeBron James, which is very this style, and this could easily be a barber shop.
Yeah.
And Rick Rubin, owner of Def Jam Records, sitting in a barber chair with his shoes off. No shoes, just he just crossed his legs. Like, that's comfortable.
Yeah.
Just had his feet out. Like, Diddy was there. Like, LeBron James was there. But then, like, he had his feet out in front of Diddy. Like, Jared Carmichael fans to me, like, just important people. But you talk about, like, really, like, he done worked so hard. Like, he can be the white version of you when you, like, you know what I mean, when you, like, 60 or something like that. Like, did a lot, like, bomb change for you. You know all that did.
And know who you are.
And know he knows exactly who he is. He ain't trying to be nobody else.
Again, we allow people to define us. We allow people to define us, put us in a box, and too many of us, we live our lives defined by somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, and then we wonder why we either mediocre or we just not happy. But we allow, because I think anybody successful, I went through the same thing. Because what I'm doing now wasn't even a job. And I remember when I decided to come out of corporate America, you know, I heard, man, you leaving a good job. You know, that's all I say to you, man. You ain't gotta be happy. You just got a good job. You know, you can be crying every day when you need a house, man. You got a good job. And you go to a nonprofit. You know, I heard all the stories.
What you just said, that message that you just said is a big foundation of why I do what I do. A big foundation. Just to make a long story short, I was over at my mom's house. My aunt, her boyfriend, and a couple of my homies was over there, and we was talking about just 9 to 5. The conversation started off because they said that sometimes, what they say, you don't always have to be respected by the people that's paying you or something like that. So it went off until like, oh, if you walk into a room with Diddy and you went to shake his hand and he didn't shake your hand, are you still doing the work for him? So my response was, if we're under contract, I'm gonna still do the work for him, but then I'm never doing work for him again. Oh, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. You're stupid. You put in a check. You gonna put respect over your check. I said,
respect
yes.
over your check.
I said, I will leave. I said, I will live in a box.
How you ever gonna make that again?
I said, but that's what they were saying. Like, Diddy, bro, you know how much money you would be getting paid? I said, I will live in a box before I let somebody disrespect me or make me feel uncomfortable for any reason.
But the problem with it, that's not true, because typically I've been around people like that, and once they think they can abuse you, they continue to do it, and eventually they do it with your money. Eventually they lose value. You know, I'm paying him 10 grand. I can pay him 5 grand. He ain't gonna say anything now.
So many people are slave of a dollar, man.
And I know that it's so much money out here. It's so much money out here. Like so much. Like when I said I was getting comfortable, I was working with an event planner that was really putting me on every week. You know what I mean? Something happened with her. You know what I mean? It wasn't no disrespect or nothing like that. Just help out. Something happened, so she wasn't able to work as much as she did. And that made me go out and really like. I have to get on that stockpile. I have to make sure that I have, you know what I mean? Because in case anything happen, whether it's the disrespect, whether it's health reasons, whatever. I need to make sure that I'm able to eat it for, you know what I mean? If there's any reason, you know what I mean?
So we're at the hour. It always goes so fast. So tell us, how do people get your services? How do they find out? How can they contact you to get pictures or whatever? Some things, share with the audience.
Not only that, what else you got coming up? It could be any events. I actually want to ask you one more question. Like, have you ever thought of like doing any different programs where you're perhaps teaching people how to use cameras, different things like that, and take photos?
Yeah, that's something that I was talking to the founder of the nonprofit that I used to work with, Ryan. I was talking to him about that about a year ago. I just have to really be able to sit down there and come up with a program to do it. Like, I definitely want to do that because I love it, and I know that everybody ain't gonna love it, but it's gonna touch the couple of people that's like me, and that's all I need. You know what I mean?
Like, I can say this, and I got work for you, bro. Everybody's not gonna love it, but I know I love my camera. I'm that novice dude. They tease me all the time, man, because vacation, I'm the one taking pictures. Because usually when you look through a camera, you get a different perspective. When you start looking through a camera, and you'll see, when you start really taking pictures of your kids and stuff a lot, you see them different. It's like because you focused. You don't see all the stuff that's going around it, man. You zoom in, and when you zoom the camera, you see everything. Perfection. There's nothing like it. Like being on the cruise, get the sunset, the sunrise. It's a whole different look when you look in the camera.
Right.
And for some of our kids, that's their vision and they hope because they'll see things differently. It was a young lady, a photographer I was talking to, and I was trying to do some work, and she ended up moving to Connecticut because she got a gig with ESPN.
Awesome.
She was talking about how when she was in the inner city, she walked past these abandoned houses all the time, never paid much attention to it. And then somebody dared her to start taking pictures. And when she started taking pictures, instead of seeing these abandoned houses, she saw art. She saw these different things that then when she started really paying attention, she saw the architecture. She was like, whoa, these buildings are pretty cool, man. And then she started to learn about architecture. So, and she went on to do other stuff. She takes sports pictures, but just kids who don't get out the hood, don't see things different, it's a different perspective. And it takes their mind off some of the crazy stuff.
For sure, because these kids go through a lot, man. These kids
go through a lot. When we had hike, the last thing, this is before y'all time the Polaroid cameras. You take them and take pictures. Or the instant cameras, I would tell the kids, just no matter what they saw, just take a picture of it. And they were talking about it. And I say, see, that's your mind. All that stuff your camera's seeing, your mind is actually photographing that. That's why you remember stuff you never thought you knew. That's why you shouldn't be looking at this or listening to that. So, cameras do so much, man.
For sure. I call it's like the only real form of time control right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You can freeze time, and go back and review. But yeah, definitely, that's definitely coming. I'm gonna give y'all information on that, on the mentorship for the photography. You can check me out on my website at www.sharpshootervisualsllc.com. Also on Instagram at xsharpshooter. I don't have a Facebook for my photography page, but yeah. On the website, you can find the gear. You could book with me for photo shoots, video shoots. I just got the 360 camera, the photo booth.
I saw that.
Yeah. We gonna be down.
We gotta get some more gear, man.
I need some
goats.
I got you. We gonna be down Love Park, I believe, this Saturday. Is this Saturday?
This Saturday is the 8th.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Because I'm about to order us some hoodies.
Or it's this Sunday. This Sunday I'm gonna be down Love Park with it again. So yeah, come check us out, man.
Love. So closing remarks.
Closing remarks. I like. First of all, I've seen you a million times, and I'm ashamed to say I had preconceived notions about you too, because and it's funny because I forget that I'm black and got dreads as well. You know what I'm saying? But you no disrespect to you, but you are far more intelligent than I knew, and I'm glad I got to find out tonight.
Thank you.
I would say one of the most impactful things that we kind of connected on was getting around mentorship, and it's kind of ironic that I did that. I'm in that process of doing that before I even got in. I sent that text with a link to my stuff, not even edited. Yo, this is my raw stuff. You want me or not?
Yeah.
That resonated with me. There's something else, but I'm gonna let Devin go.
All right. Mainly, I'm just happy you were able to come through, man. This is definitely a good conversation. We go back years, since Shellingham and everything. And like I always knew you had this drive, but it was definitely interesting to hear your perspective. You know, as far as photography. You know, what drives you, what motivates you. So, you know, just being able to give you this platform, you know, to be able to give you your flowers. You know, this especially this early, because I know you
Greatly appreciate it.
you're gonna have big things coming in the future. So, just want to give you your props.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And just kind of with everybody, man, love and appreciate having you on. I mean, for everybody that's watching and listening, you know, we kind of touched upon your perception and the images of things that you see and that you take in. And, you know, just like if you overeat and you don't work out and you're putting that stuff into your body, you get fat. You know, but when you're taking in all these negative images, you spending time online, you on YouTube, like just be mindful of all these things that you are taking in, because that's going to come out in some type of negative way or manner, you know? So again, like we talking about images and your perception, and the importance of this show here is to just highlight and just let y'all know that it's brothers like Jahlil and other kings out here, we doing great things, and just continue to do great things, and I really appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. This is a wonderful platform to have. A wonderful platform to have. Like, this is I honestly wish that a lot more people knew about it, because I feel like it would, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, don't get me wrong. I know that y'all, you know, in y'all just starting off, yeah, right. But this program is so, to have black men sitting here like this, you know what I mean, having this conversation, because this is something that we don't do often outside my relatives. Like, I don't talk to that many older gentlemen all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that. I talk to, you know, people our age all
I'm the
the
older
time,
gentleman.
but it's good to get the different perspective. You know what I mean? In a comfortable setting. So I appreciate y'all for that.
For me, man, it's the 3 P's, man: planning, purpose, and passion, man. I think I heard those things, man. When you were talking about what you saw, you had a plan. You know, most of us we just get up and do stuff, man. Then we wonder why it don't work, man. And your purpose, man. You're working on your purpose, man. Like Justin said, you were created to do this. You know, just like he was created, you know, to do the comedian thing. And sometimes we settle. You know, and that's one thing I hear that you don't settle. You know, and neither do you, man. So you should be proud of that, man. I know you're in there where you want to be, but some people never take that step.
Yeah, I already feel like I made it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you.
You got to.
I already feel like I made it. So like,
you got to.
that's already out the way. I'm just trying to go higher and higher, inspire.